Now, Barnaby, later in the show, I'm going to show the Prime Minister going feral again at Israel and its Prime Minister, not even ruling out suggestions of war crimes investigations into the tragic killing of an Australian aid worker, Zoe Frankham, in Gaza this week. In what Israel has said was an accident, it's going to investigate. What do you make of the way the government is handling this?
Well, look, it is a tragedy, and wars are horrid things. People should not start wars. It doesn't matter. You can have all the investigations you like. It's not going to bring this person's life back, and that's a tragedy for their family. And I never ever want to belittle loss of life, but there is so much loss of life in this war, and it's what you're seeing is, of course, Israel is going to investigate it, and I hope they do a very competent and honest job. You're going to get nothing like that from Hamas because they're a terrorist organisation. They celebrate killing innocent people. And so, you've got to be... Mr Albanese jumping in and assuming all knowledge and sort of playing cards for a war on the other side of the planet, I think is fraught with danger. And all I want is the war to stop. And you've got other people a lot closer to the action, I suppose, well, closer, I hate to belittle, it's not action, this horrific event, being the Saudis, the Egyptians, United Arab Emirates. I just hope they all get their heads together and work out how to stop this. But it's not going to be stopped from Canberra, and it's not going to be stopped by Anthony Albanese.
Well, I just wonder whether some of the heat that Labor's putting on Israel, and not Hamas, might be governed by the fact that Labor insiders are already worried about a backlash by Muslims in Western Sydney seats held by Labor. They still think Labor's not tough enough on Israel. There's even talk of fundraising for Muslim candidates of parties. I wonder if that's going to explain anything. Yesterday, the Prime Minister appointed
if we affect the egalitarian nature of Australia, if the Prime Minister is playing into this partisanship, then that's an incredibly bad thing, an incredibly wrong thing for the Prime Minister to do. The egalitarian nature of Australia. I don't know that he is, Barnaby.
I'm just saying.
You deal with things.
I'm just saying this is what Labor Party insiders are saying. I don't know if it's true. I hope it's not, but I'm afraid I wouldn't put it past some of the Labor types, to be honest, in New South Wales. Yesterday, the Prime Minister appointed a former Labor advisor and insider, Sam Mostyn, as our next Governor-General. I know you've got to say, pay the party, the loyalty game here. But Barnaby, she has made a career from pushing for women to get promoted. So woke that she's been chairman of Tim Flannery's Climate Council. Also backed The Voice. Went into mourning when 60% of Australians said no to The Voice. Here she is.
I, frankly, after the referendum, I felt completely untethered because I thought perhaps we were a big enough nation and there was enough understanding to actually make that step. I'm horrified to think about what I thought Australia was growing up with the Captain Cook story and no mention of First Peoples or of frontier wars or any of that hidden from us. So it's a catastrophe because I think that led to what we then saw at the most recent referendum in Australia.
Barnaby Joyce, are you happy with Sam Mostyn's appointment as Governor-General? Is this the unifying neutral figure that we need?
Well, she's wrong on The Voice. A choice of the Australian people, and you should respect it. An overwhelming choice of the Australian people because they didn't want a race-based clause that differentiated what say you had in politics based on your DNA. I don't know what part of that she doesn't understand. I said on this program with you, even I might say, Andrew, even when you doubted me, I said, this thing is going to absolutely nosedive. It is dead in the water.
You did?
That's exactly what happened. And the other thing I would say about this is she's got to be impartial. You go into this with a track record of what you've said before, and the Australian people will say, well, I understand that you were wrong on your position on The Voice, but then to wake up the next day and say, how horrific this all is and what a terrible thing this is for Australia. No, you respect, you're now at the pinnacle, the very top. You've got to respect the mandate of the Australian people because even though you might be at the pinnacle, they're actually the boss. The Australian people are actually the boss. And that's disturbing. And frontier wars, there were no frontier wars, right? There was no Australian army, there was no Australian general engaged or sent out to fight an Aboriginal army. There was not one person in an Australian uniform that ever fought against an army of Aboriginals. There wasn't an army. There wasn't, when a person came, when Governor Phillip was Governor Phillip, he wasn't General Phillip or General or General Macquarie. They were governors. And when people say frontier wars, it's just implying something that just actually didn't happen. There was certainly murders, there were massacres. Yes,
I also
100%.
think it's a bad look.
No frontier wars.
It's a bad look, isn't it, that someone who says that 60% of people aren't big enough, of Australians aren't big enough to actually vote for the Voice. What, she's going to be Governor-General of a nation of 60% small people? I mean, I don't know about that. Barnaby Joyce, thank you so much for your time.
Look, but I mean, we've already got to be impartial. She's an appointment of His Majesty the King of England.
Yes.
I'll leave it on his, on recommendation of Anthony Albanese. I'll leave it on both their shoulders.